Hey everybody, welcome back to the Combat Chain. Pat and Adam here today. Adam, say hello.
Hey.
We are continuing our Skirmish Showdown series. The first video went up the other day where you saw Volta take on Kasai, and Adam is here to bring a Dash Blitz list, and I am going to be running Phi today. So Adam, why don't you tell us a little about Dash?
All right, so here we've got a Dash boost list that is designed to just kill your opponent quickly. Since Dash got Teklo Pounder, Dash has gained the ability to deal a lot of damage really quickly in the Blitz meta. And let's be honest, that's all Blitz is at this point, is 2-turn kills. Whoever can get there quicker wins for the most part, unless you've got some insane disruption strategy. So let's dive into this Dash list. Like I said, right off the bat, with Dash's hero ability that you can start with a mechanologist item that costs 2 or less in the arena, Teklo Pounder is where you want to go. Unless you're going to play to a pistol strategy, which I don't think pistols can get there in Blitz right now. It takes too long to set up all the pieces. Let's look at the equipment next. Head slot, there's, I think, a little bit of room to debate between, for the most part, Arcanite Skullcap or Crown of Providence. You do have Visitronic Model I, which is in the Kano package or the Wizard package. That's really the only time you want to go to Visitronic. Beyond that, you're going to be looking at either Arcanite Skullcap or Crown of Providence. And really, the big debate between the two, Arcanite Skullcap is going to get you 1 extra block in some games. If you are in that late game where maybe you're at 1 or 2 lower life than your opponent, you can maybe squeak out a 1 out of Skullcap. I genuinely think Crown of Providence is where you want to be, though. The fact that it gives you that 2 block without the whole finesse of maybe being just a hair lower than your opponent in life. The fact that you have a undisputable 2 block at all times that on top of that gives you hand fixing. I think that is the one place where this deck can falter, is maybe you end up with just a weird combination of cards in your hand or arsenal or something like that. Crown of Providence can get you out of that bind. I think that's the way to go, but Arcanite Skullcap can be arguably the maybe budget option at this point. Skullcap's been going down in price. Crown of Providence, I think, is the new way to go. But budget option, maybe if you have a reason to want to try to finesse that 1 block in the late game or something like that. And when I say late game, this deck is looking to kill quickly. Late game is going to be like turn 2. And I think that's an important distinction to make. Other equipment that are going to be kind of key in this deck, the key package is usually going to be Achilles Accelerator, Teklo Foundry Heart, and Goliath Gauntlet. There's very, very few reasons why you want to stray away from this. The only reason that, in my opinion, you're going to stray away from it is, like I said, to go back to, we've got the Null Rune package. So we've got Null Rune Robe, Visitronic, and Null Rune Gloves. With that, Achilles Accelerator, mentioning that it has a Arcane Barrier 1 as well, so it still stays in for the Arcane package. And then we've also got Ironhide Gauntlet and Ironhide Legs. Those are really only going to come into like any matchup where your opponent can deal a really big dominate. So like Bravo, maybe Azalea. Bravo is kind of the one place I'm really bringing these in for, and in part because Blitz, you have the 11 equipment slots. It's easy to slot these in. So weapons. We've got Teklo Plasma Pistol and Talishar, of all things. For the most part, you're running with Talishar. And the reason being is because this deck, for as fast as it is and for as streamlined as it is, it does have a decent amount of resources in it and typically can afford to pay the extra 1 for Talishar. Talishar, yes, you're thinking, oh, but it only gets 3 swings out of it. Well, if the game goes longer than 3 turns, you have other problems. This deck does have other tools for that. But if the game's going longer than 3 turns, you're not going to Talishar anymore. You're going to Plasma Pistol. This deck is looking to kill quickly, and that's why Talishar is the preferred weapon. like I said, with the amount of resources this deck can produce, you're not going to have issues swinging the pistol at the end of your chain. And 2 for 4, effectively in a world where you do have the extra resources, is better than 1 for 2. You're going with pistol is because the game's going long, and at which point you're likely looking at something like the Oldhim matchup at that point, maybe the Bravo matchup as well, depending if they're going to be aggro Bravo or more of a controlly Bravo. I would probably in that world still side for controlly Bravo and bring in the Iron Hides and bring in pistol, lean into the high octane package. And when I say lean into the high octane package, I mean just play to high octane. That's the only time you'd want to play at a high octane, like Oldhim, Bravo. Beyond that, you're going to stick with doing the fast thing with this deck. If we look at beyond the equipment, if we look at actually the main makeup of the deck, Teklo Pounder being your starting item, beyond Teklo Pounder, the only actual other items that are in this deck is Teklo cores, 2 Teklo cores. I know a lot of people hum and haw about whether you want to run 1 or 2 Teklo Pounders. I genuinely think, and when I say I think, I was put onto this idea by somebody else by the name of Nia Tran, and shout out to him. This version of this deck is built by him, and I think he's right to only go with 1 Teklo Pounder. The amount of tempo loss you lose to play out a second Teklo Pounder is just not worth it. Even if you can go turn 1 Teklo Pounder, if you're so lucky as to draw the second Teklo Pounder, the amount of damage this deck can produce turn 1 or turn 0, however you describe it, the first turn of the game before both opponents drop, this deck can produce enough damage to actually go over the top of what your opponent can block turn 0, that even if you were in some world to hit the second Teklo Pounder, the 2 resources can just be better spent going to something like a Throttle or a Payload or something like that. Especially, and we'll get to that in a moment, when you have the Dominate on Payload at the end of your chain. It's a way easier way to sink damage. Just the 3 items, the 2 Teklo cores, the 1 Teklo Pounder. You do have 2 Spark of Geniuses in the yellows to fetch to fetch the Teklo cores. And the Teklo cores just give you so much gas when you maybe want to like block or something like that with 1 card, that the Teklo cores are worth it. High octanes for the Bravo matchup and the Oldhim matchup, because you do need that little bit of extra reach with Teklo pistol with the extra action points to help overextend over the damage they produce. And when I do highlight that, I do want to highlight as well that this, if you are leaning into like an Oldhim or something like that, those aren't easy matches to win. High octane is just kind of your best strategy to get there. It might not get you there all the time. And that's just a reality. That is the reality. That is one of the downfalls of this deck, is that anybody who can fatigue, who can prevent a lot of damage, is going to be able to get around this deck. But beyond that, I genuinely think that's one, if not the only downfalls of this dash boost deck. We do have 2 red rotary rams. Beyond high octane, rotary ram and Spark of Genius are the only non-attack actions we have in the deck, minus the Teklo cores as well, I suppose. And rotary ram is just because it's very easy. Like there's no card in the deck that's not a mech card. Rotary ram is great gas. You can also lean into it to help extend your late game, because it can put itself to the bottom of the deck and get you a little bit of gas later on in the game. The rest of the deck is really just attack actions. Most of them are very efficiently costed. You've got like the T-Bones, all 3 colors of 0 to 60, all 3 colors of Zipper Hit, High Speed Impact in red and blue. And it's a lot of 1-costed attacks. You do have some 2-costed attacks, and the 2-costed attacks are important to highlight because those are the ones that interact with Goliath Gauntlet. Don't be afraid to break Goliath Gauntlet early. The moment you have a 2-cost attack that lines up, interact with Goliath Gauntlet, like maybe a Payload or something like that, that is your moment to lean into that Goliath Gauntlet and just push that extra damage, because like I said, these matchups, you're looking for them to be quick. And that is everything this deck is being mindful of. And the cool thing too, the way Goliath Gauntlet interacts with the 2 cost attack, if you have a hand that's like payload and then a bunch of like 0 to 60s and zipper hits or something like that, you can start off your chain by popping Goliath Gauntlet, going 0 costed attack, 1 costed attack, and then finish off with the payload and have a, you know, if you get the red payload, you have 8 dominate. So it's a great way to push that extra damage and do it early and do it fast. I think that really sums up the deck. It's meant to kill quickly. It's efficiently costed. It's got a lot of resource generation in it. It's the full package to get there in the skirmish season, I think.
Real quick, why no max velocity?
Maximum velocity is a trap. It's that card that you draw turn 1 or turn 2, you see it and you go, oh, this is going to be great. You arsenal it, and then you start interacting with your opponent and you don't manage to actually get it off. Now you've got this wasted arsenal slot. You've got the dead card. Like maximum velocity at its best is a prism tech card. If you have a meta where for some reason it's like some heavy Herald's prism beatdown meta, 100% run maximum velocity in your deck, and you'll be glad when you see that Herald of Erudition that you did. But beyond that, you do not want to be on maximum velocity in this deck. It's very difficult to get off in the context of like 2 for 10.
Very good, very good. That is Adam's dash. All right. So today I will be running Phi, and this version of the list is going to look a lot. It's going to look very familiar to those who've been zooming in CC. I actually think that the Zoomer CC may have been born from what we started doing in Blitz. Super quick here. So I'll run through the equipment real quick here. First off, we'll talk about the equipment going into an aggressive matchup, either like the Phi Mirror or even something like Dash, what we're going to today. So the Tide Flippers are the only boots that we run here. So those stay in the whole time. We're gonna run Blossom of Spring on the chest piece, Tiger Stripe Shuko, and Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is the aggro matchup headpiece. We use that because we're not really going to have enough time to get enough value out of Mask Momentum, and if we're facing another deck that wants to kill us very quickly, getting either a Lava Burst or Salt the Wound off of a Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is going to help us reach our end game much faster than the threat of a card draw on Mask Momentum. That being said, if we get into some of the longer matchups, for instance, Icelander, we'll take out the Blossom of Spring. We'll put in Spring Tunic. We'll do that against Icelander, Oldham for Bravo, and Dorinthia. We'll put in the Flamescale Furnace. We look to get some sort of fridge configuration with as much block as we possibly can. That includes Breeze Rider boots coming in, definitely against Dorinthia, and depending on what your read is on Bravo, if you feel like you need the 7th block, then that is the correct move there. For Bravo, I would run Mask Momentum. It's going to be kind of a grindy mid-range match, and threatening the card draw is going to take cards out. For Oldham, I would run Mask of the Pouncing Lynx just because they're so defensive heavy. They're able to efficiently take out your Mask Momentum threat anyways. So to get any value off your headpiece, Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is probably going to be it. We are running 3 total pieces of Null Rune for the Wizard matchup. So for Icelander, I'm not running extra Arcane Barrier. We are paying taxes and just trying to kill. So the Tide Flippers stays in, so you have Incidental Arcane Barrier 1. Against Kano, though, we'll put in the gloves and the robe to total Arcane Barrier 3. This is an aggressive deck, but we are running 10 blues and 3 yellows, which might seem thin, but combine that with Belittle, and we actually very rarely are resource starved, and very typically have a blue in hand ready to pitch and still be able to attack with the rest of our cards in hand and arsenal. We'll start off with the With the blues here, these can might seem pretty familiar again to some of you. Some of these might seem a little different. We got Brand with Cinderclaw blue, Draconic Ninja Attack go again, Rising Resentment blue, Draconic Ninja Attack go again. We have blue Minnowism. It's the only Minnowisms that we run here. We do run just the red belittles. We'll go into that in a second. We do run 2 Pursuit of Knowledges and 2 blue Flying Kicks. These are if your hand is blue heavy and you have one of these, it kind of salvages your turn to threaten an on hit Pursuit of Knowledge. If it hits, you can gain 1 intellect till end of turn, and it is a 4 attack, and Flying Kick at the end of the combat chain, or if it's link 3 or more on the combat chain, it's a 5 attack. So, most of the time these are pitched, but in a pinch, they give a little more extra threat. We have, for the yellows, we have 2 Art of Wars and 1 Salt the Wound. Our game plan, basically all the time, for as long as we can, is either to pop the Blossom of Spring or get the resource off of Tunic and pay for an Art of War or Belittle or Spreading Flame without having to pitch a card. We want to get the resource, pay for it, and have our big turn, just like in Classic Constructed. So we run 2 Art of Wars because that's what we absolutely need. So we run the single Salt the Wound as a fetchable for Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Going to the reds, we have my favorite and yours, Belittle, up top. It is too good to exist, so I have it in here because it's great. You can pop Blossom and pay 1. You basically play the Belittle for free, get a blue resource, and have an even bigger turn than you would otherwise. You can pitch, and you can do a whole bunch of stuff with Belittle and the blue Minnowism, and for all those reasons, it's in there. Double Strike. If you're running Mask Momentum, this is the catalyst to help threaten Mask twice in a turn. Otherwise, it is another thing that can get buffed by Art of War. It extends the combat chain. It's just a generally good card. Its only downside is it's not Draconic, but you can lead with a Brand of Cinderclaw to change that. After Double Strike, we have Spreading Flames. Spreading Flames is just like Art of War. It's one of our win cons. Having both of them out is basically the name of the game here. If we can get 2 buffs, we can generate more damage than just about anybody else can handle. Lava Vein Loyalty, conditional Draconic Ninja go again. Lava Burst is a finisher. It's got Rupture. It can be fetched with Pet Mask of Pouncing Lynx. It can be buffed by Spreading Flames and Art of War. With Rupture comes in for 5. Can come up to 7. Flame Call Awakening. 1 cost 3 go again. Has to be played after a red card in order to fetch Phoenix Flame from your deck. It can still be played on its own. It's still 3 go again. But we do want to try and get the second Phoenix Flame out. Speaking of Phoenix Flames, we are running 2, so we're going to run 1 in deck and 1 starts in our graveyard. So we'll actually have a 39 card deck, much like Dash will actually have a 39 card deck once the equipment's out or the item is out. It sucks to draw and it sucks to have that in your hand, but sometimes that happens. Our game is going to be fast enough where if Flame Call is there, we'll take it to get the other Phoenix Flame. If we get the Phoenix Flame in our hand, so be it. It might be a good opportunity to pitch it to pay for something else, but at that point we're playing whatever our hand gives us at the time. On the top here, we're running red Plunder runs. This is kind of a polarizing pick depending on who you're talking to. I think it's fantastic in here. I think even outside of arsenaling it and getting the plus 3 effect, having Phi in particular threaten an on-hit on the combat chain and eventually replace itself, I think has a little more impact here than it might otherwise. So I love Plunder Run and Blitz as it is, so we run the 2 reds. Mounting Anger, 4 go again, 1 cost, Draconic attack, on hit makes your next attack +1 for if it costs less than the Draconic Lynx. It's super good. It targets so many things already available to us. It's awesome to make a Blaze Headlong, which is next on the list, a 5 attack, or turn a 3 attack into a 4 and give it a break point, which is just great. Blaze Headlong is next after that. 4 go again if you've played a red card beforehand, such as like a Plunder Run or, like I said, a Mounting Anger. This is probably one of my favorite cards now. Used to be Ravenous Rabble, and now it's Blaze Headlong. Just a quality card, and just an easy one to put in there. Ronin Renegade, 3 go again, 0 cost, Draconic Ninja attack. Brand with Cinderclaw Red, 3 go again, 0 cost, makes your next attack Draconic. And Rising Resentment Red. This one on hit, you can banish a card and make it cost 1 resource less. Sequencing with that is important. If you can play it second, if you can attack with it second in the chain, it's fantastic to do so. Otherwise, it's just a 3 attack go again. Like I said, the name of the game here is to have your big pop-off turn no matter what. Blossom of Spring allows you to get your 1 resource on demand as opposed to waiting 3 turns, so that's why we run that in most matchups. You will need to block with your equipment in Dorinthia and Bravo. It is dangerous, especially Bravo. Bravo can dominate and can pummel. It can really disrupt your game plan. Oldham with ice effects and pummel can very much disrupt your game plan. So you will rely on your armor for the most part to block and be able to pivot into a game-winning turn. Yeah, it does. I think it wins most races. Like I said, Icelander seems to effectively pay the taxes and still be able to leak enough damage through to feel very good about that. I know Icelander lists are starting to get tuned up a little bit and starting to win some skirmishes and armories around Flesh and Blood right now. So it'll be interesting to see how that progresses. I think it has a rough matchup into Dorinthia. Like I said, you need armor to get the counters off, and if you don't hit the nuts, it can very much outrace you. So you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with chain. Carrion Husk can negate what would be your big end of combat chain attack with like Assault the Wound or a Lava Burst, minimizing the effects of that, and it can clap back just as hard. Same with Briar, depending on how they're configured. They can be able to block a few things. They have some pretty good armor. So you can usually outmaneuver people if you can go to 5, 6, 7 links, get that damage through beyond their ability to put cards down, and over time that can prove to be enough.
All right, so you said you think Fi can win most races.
Yeah, we're going to find out.
Who do you think?
I think
Who
this is going to be
this race?
It's definitely going to depend on both the dice roll and card draw. I think this will be whoever gets going first. I actually have to kind of think about my equipment selection here because, like you had mentioned, dash is like raw damage. So, is it more important to go second, absorb a bunch of damage, and hope that I can clap back for even harder and keep the Blossom, or do I put the Furnace in knowing that I can soak more raw damage up, which in the end is probably the name of the game there, right? You don't have a ton of on hit, so all we're doing is caring about numbers. So, not necessarily the timing of the armor matters. But if I'm doing that, it does slow me down just enough where I might not be able to pop off. So it'll be interesting. Oh, that being said, the first things first, we will roll. Even odds, I roll, you call.
I'll take odds.
It is evens! Now, this is still a pretty important decision. Because your first turn is still a killer. Turn 0. Interesting. I will go. Right, I have to. This is a tempo. Is a tempo game. I need tempo. I will gain tempo. I will go first. I mean, I will go second. So I'll make you go first.
I think that's correct in this matchup. I think playing to tempo just seems to give you a better advantage. You can prevent so much damage going first or going second still because you get to draw back up at the end of your turn. Unless you have a deck that wants to go first because it needs to do, like Icelander setting up her arsenal, or you have a deck that really doesn't block well, like going second in a tempo based meta is going to typically be correct.
Yep. Yep.
We've got the semblance of like a decent turn here. We withhold that guy. We can do that. All right. We're going to start off with a yellow zipper hit. Boosting. Boost hits. It's a red overloop. So that's going to be a Teklo Pounder trigger. This is 6 with go again.
6. Okay, block 6.
With the go again, we're going to do a high speed impact for boosting. Blue payload. This is going to be 2 with go again. If this hits the next attack, I boost this combat. Chain gains dominate.
No worries about that. Block 2.
Block is good. With the go again off of that, I'm going to close combat chain.
Yep.
We're going to activate the Teklo Foundry Heart, banishing the top 2 cards of my deck, paying 1 resource for that. Got a blue payload and a yellow zipper hit, so I go up to 2 resources. With the 2 resources, we're going to swing Kalashar for 4, putting a counter on it.
Kalashar for 4. We will block 2 with Shuko.
Interesting. Take 2?
Yep.
I'll proceed to end step.
Yep.
Arsenal 1.
We will break Blossom. Gain resource. We're going to Art of War. We're going to choose +1 and banish to draw 2. We will... You ever just get to one of those moments where it's like, it seems like it's the obvious thing, but I second guess myself?
All the time.
We will...
In both this game and in life.
I'm going to banish a red brand the Cinecloud. I'm going to draw 2. Okay. Justified. We're going to attack with a belittle. We're going to pitch a blue. We're going to float 2. We're going to show a lava burst to find a Minnowism. This is going to come in for 4 go again.
We're going to say no blocks.
Alright, blue Minnowism goes into hand. Yeah, no reactions or anything.
Take 4.
Take 4. We'll blaze for 5 go again.
Ooh. No blocks.
No reactions. On hit,
11.
we'll break mask. Emberblade for 3 go again.
No blocks.
As an instant, we'll pitch the Minnowism. Activate Phi as an instant. Paying floating 1, or floating 2 rather. Phoenix Flame to hand. Flame for 2 go again.
Cards in hand.
1.
Ah. Well, at this point, I might as well stop one hit for that salt the wound.
Nope, you know it's a lava burst. Or you know a lava burst
Oh,
banished, but you also have seen a lava burst being
right.
shown for below.
Defaulted to thinking, because of Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, that you grabbed the salt. So we see lava burst into lava burst.
I actually figured if I grabbed, I thought that might be one of my last opportunities to do it, but if I grabbed assault, you would be more inclined to block anyways.
Makes sense. So that's 6 and 6. Yeah, I guess I'll say no blocks on the Phoenix Flame.
Sure. Will lava burst for 6.
I will block for 4 with Crown of Providence, Tekla Foundry Heart.
Yep. As a reaction, I'll break Tide Flippers.
Okay, and trigger on Crown of Providence. I'll
Yeah, that happens first. Yep.
cycle my arsenal to the bottom of my deck and draw a card.
Yep. At reactions, I'll break Tide Flippers.
Yeah. Take 2.
And then we'll lava burst for 6.
I'll block for 3.
No reactions.
Go to 1.
Go to 1. We'll close combat chain. We'll put the. We'll move to end step.
End step is good.
I'll draw 4. Say go.
All right. We have to break the Goliath Gauntlet first.
Okay.
Come in with a throttle, pitching a blue. Boosted. Boost hits. It's a red high speed impact. So there's going to be a Teklo Pounder trigger on this. This is throttle for 6, 8, 10. Go again.
It's a big number. No defense.
I have no reaction. That takes you down to 8.
Yep.
With the go again off of that, I will payload for 6 dominate.
You have 6 dominate. It does not have boost. You have boosted. You can accelerator and then Talishar. I'm on to your tricks. Okay. I'm gonna Art of War.
All right.
And we are going to pitch a right to pay for it. And we're going to choose +1 and banish to draw 2.
Sure.
We'll banish a Mounting Anger and we'll draw 2. I will block 3.
Yeah. Take 3.
Yep.
Then I'll pop Achilles Accelerator.
Yep.
And I will Talishar for 4.
No defense.
Go to 1.
Go to 1.
Proceed to my end step.
Double strike for 1. Go again.
We'll block with Foundry Heart.
Chain Link resolves. It banishes. Double strike for 1.
Just the 1 in hand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Block for 3.
Yep. Double strike for 1.
Oh no. Literally the worst outcome. Block for 3.
Chain link resolves. Double
Yeah.
strike for 1.
Yeah, and we'll block for 3.
Yeah, I'll close up. I'll move to end step.
You're good.
Drop and say go.
Gonna Talishar for 4. Hoping you've got 2 blocks. I guess even 1 3 block, you still got to give up 2 cards no matter what here, so that bodes well for me.
I do. I will block 5.
Block is good. Talishar dies. Drop and pass to you.
Will Flame Call Awakening, no fetch, but we will come in for 3 go again.
This is hilarious. Block for 3.
We will Emberblade for 3.
Block for 3.
And that's all I can do. Close up. I'll draw 4, so you go.
I'm going to play a Tekla-Core, Arsenal, and pass to you.
Oh, no!
Guess what my Arsenal is?
It's another Tekla-Core.
Maybe.
Oh, boy. Okay. Brand for 3 go again.
Yeah, block for 3.
We'll Emberblade for 3 go again.
Block for 3.
Or 4 rather. We'll Spreading Flames for 3 go again.
Block for 3.
I'll activate 5 as an instant.
Yep.
Flame to hand, 1 go again.
Block for 3.
And we'll Salt the Wound for 2.
Good game.
GG's.
Yeah, the moment I saw this 2 Tekla-Cores in hand, I was like, I'm screwed.
Oh, I was happy to see the other double strike. I got that off of the off the Art of War. The defensive
And that
Art of
goes
War.
to talk back to the talking point of like the deck teching or like the building in this deck.
Yep.
That in itself is part of the reason why you don't want to run the second Teklo Pounder, and why you want to build with as few items as possible in the current Blitz meta, is because drawing into 2 Teklo Pounders will lose you the game.
Yep.
It's not an if, it's a when it happens, and it will happen at some point.
All right, Adam. That is Skirmish Showdown Dash versus Phi. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Catch us on our Patreon. And we'll provide the links for these decks in the description below. And you can find the Combat Chain at the Combat Chain on Twitter. You can find myself at PatSmashGood. And you can find Adam at FobTooleryTCG. And until next time, we're closing the Combat Chain.
The Combat Chain.